Roberts, and I'm from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. I love the freedom of massage therapy. I got into it because of all of my years of working in the hospital. I just got burnt out, really, just completely burned out. And one day I was sitting at the beach and I watched this little girl, she wasn't a little girl, she was probably 20, carry her table out to the beach. This lady comes out, gets on the table, she's out there for about an hour, it was at sunset. The lady gets up and leaves, and as the girl's carrying her table back up off of the sand, I say, just by any chance, how much did you charge for that? She said, I charged $200. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's a bath? You're giving them a bed bath. Same motions. I can do that. And so I was able to go to massage therapy school, come right out of massage therapy school, and start a business. Yeah, I want to stop there. When I was in massage therapy school, I was really focused on therapeutic massage. I was very much into rehab and recovery, and I think that my goal was to own a rehab clinic in 5 years, and we hit that goal within like the first year. It was just amazing how well this Peaceful Warriors came about. I really focused on therapeutic massage during massage therapy school, and for the first like 3 or 4 years afterwards. I was very much deep tissue myofascial release. I felt like you had to get in there and work on it to really get to release. And as my body changed, that no longer worked for me. I needed to be relaxed in order for any kind of therapeutic work to be beneficial to me. And so I've kind of adjusted my approach to massage therapy as my body has changed. I am now very much feel like that I have to get my mind and like all of my senses, the smell, the sight, the taste, everything has to be touched with me in order for me to start calming down. So now is the reason why I have kind of gotten to more of the reflexology, which is an absolute wonderful way to relax. And then I'll probably add in a little bit of therapeutic massage towards the end. It's like I get everything worked out and relaxed down with the reflexology so that whenever I do go to work on the muscles, they're much more relaxed. Okay, is it going?
Yeah.
Is the video going? Scott is probably the most intensely driven small businessman that I have ever known. If you give him a task, he is going to get it done. But you need to make sure that you need that task done before you ask him to do it, because it is going to get done. Scott is very much a man in that he's going to work to get it done so that he can see the accomplishments of his hard work. So he is going to give you 100% of what he has while he works on it. Now that is very intense, especially for someone like me that likes softer and gentler things. But I think that we balance each other, because where he is gung-ho, I'm going, wait a minute. Let's look at this situation before we do anything about this. Let's look at the whole thing, and then we'll make our decision on how to go about it. So it does balance. We balance each other out. Our typical client is someone who is very active that now hurts for whatever reason. If you sit in a chair all the time, or if you are training for a triathlon, any of those, your body hurts. And we have a bunch of different modalities and a bunch of different approaches that work for so many. Really? Okay, that's all. We have a bunch of different modalities and a bunch of different therapists that can probably find, within our therapists, we can find someone that will meet your needs.
When you feel better, you feel more like you. And when you move better, there's so much you can do. Be who you were meant to be. Peaceful Warriors Wellness. Feel better, move better, be better. Peaceful Warriors. Peaceful Warriors Wellness. Feel better, move better, be better.
My name is Catherine White, and I am from St. Petersburg, Florida, born and raised. Gee, the first question stumped me. I got into massage therapy about 20-something years ago when I had always liked massage therapy, always was interested in it, wanted to be in the medical world, helping people, but wasn't so good with the things that nurses do. So I pursued it in Nashville, Tennessee. That's where I first started this. Okay, so I practice several modalities. I was originally trained in the Western modalities, Swedish, the things, I believe, probably hot stones is probably a Western modality. I don't know, it could be from anywhere. And then I got retrained some more into Eastern modalities. So I practice a combination of very slow, thoughtful movement, long strokes, very deep relaxation, but I do use a bit of pressure, quite a bit of pressure. I kind of just gauge the muscle by what I feel it needs. And I incorporate energy work, which is something that all therapists do. I think some of us are a little more aware of the energy type of work that we're doing, and I sometimes share with my clients about it when they're open, and sometimes it's just something that goes on between the therapist and the client. Energy is being exchanged always. Wow, that's a big one. I had been out on the beaches working for quite a few years and realized that I wanted to be a part of downtown St. Pete because it's such an exciting and energy-filled place. And so I think I had heard about Peaceful Warriors from another therapist, had moved down in this area and had worked here for quite a long time. I know she's moved on from here, but I checked out some other places, and when I checked out Peaceful Warriors, it definitely felt like a great feel for me, a great fit. We are not like a corporate-ran massage therapy place. We're very individual, yet we feed off of each other, and we talk about what we're doing with each other, so we really learn all the time from one another. Some of the other places I checked into, there wasn't a whole lot of that going on, it seemed like. Of the teamwork, the coming together as a group kind of thing. It was really just a different feel. Oh, this will be fun. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to have to think about that. Okay, well, working with Lena and Scott, first of all, it's about the best scenario I could have ever asked for a fit for myself. They are very honest. They're fun, which is really important to me. Laughter is important. They are into education, and all of us getting, continuing education, which is so important in our field. They run a business like a business, but they are not, it doesn't have a corporate feel to it. So, we see each other, we talk to each other, we communicate everything. We try and talk about what's going on with the business, with the area, with, what's going on with the economy and that kind of thing. So I'd say that we all are a big part. We're not kept kind of like out here while people are making decisions over here, and then we just got to go with that. So, yeah, they're good people to be with. Yeah. Because I know that they will be addressed in the way that I believe they will want to be. In other words, we listen. We sit down and talk with people before we actually work with them. We talk to them every time we see them, to an extent of knowing what's happening, what happened the last time they were here. And I think you don't get just to have that in a lot of places anymore. It's just very individualized, and we are not a rush you through. I've been or experienced places where, they've got it booked like yay, nut, and we aren't like that. We have a good break in between each scheduled client, so we're not rattled, we're not rushed when you get here.
When you feel better, you feel more like you. And when you move better, there's so much you can do. Be who you were meant to be. Peaceful warriors, wellness. Feel better, move better, be better. Peaceful warriors.
I was always wondering what, as a massage therapist for your clients, when you're getting ready to have that appointment with them, what steps would you like them to take beforehand, and then what steps would you like them to take afterwards?
So a lot of suggestions that I have with a lot of my clients is before going into a session, I always recommend, obviously, hydrate.
Definitely drink water. I think everybody's going to say this.
Number one, drink a lot of water.
More water. You can never drink enough water.
I mean, you hear hydrate all the time.
The body needs water. It makes receiving the massage easier, giving the massage easier.
Drink a lot of water, period, in your life. Water is free.
Check your urine color, I don't know if I could say pee, but check your pee. Okay.
Water is really important because our cells are constantly bringing in and out water. And when you push on the body, it flushes the water out of the cells. So you're going to want to be drinking a lot of water so that your body, it doesn't reabsorb the toxins that it flushes out.
It can change your life. And I'm not talking about sipping a couple 16-ounce glasses the entire day. I'm really talking about really drinking water and flushing.
Make sure it's in that clearer range. A little bit of yellow is fine, but check that. Check your skin if it bounces back. That's another way to know that you're hydrated.
If you ever have, if you get a stiff neck, or all of a sudden you get a spasm, or just something really just comes on and it's like, wow, I don't know where that came from. Guaranteed, if you drink 3 or 4 tall glasses of water, you will start to feel something change there. It's almost always dehydration, especially in Florida. It's our number one reason for the emergency room here.
Especially when we live in Florida.
If you have a headache and you normally don't, or if you've had a few extra drinks, knock them back the night before, consider, do your own research, see if a little squeeze of lemon, pinch of sea salt might help you, things like that.
I always suggest, grounding yourself, whether that means you make sure that you wake up in the morning and you go for a run, you sit and meditate, you have lunch with a loved one. Getting yourself really mentally prepared for the massage, I think, is also very ideal for the client and for the therapist. I think that coming into and before getting on the table, just, again, trusting me as well, because, we have a relationship, so trust is very, very important throughout the process as well.
I would also say to be as open and honest with your therapist as you are comfortable with. We're here to help you, not judge you, so just tell us everything so that we can do the best job that we know how to do.
Rest, downtime, and just, you got to be real aware of your nutrition. Are you putting a lot of processed foods in your system? Are you resting? Are you sleeping? Are you getting sleep? Those are some of the main things: nutrition, hydration, and rest.
Get some food in your belly too. Like I always advise people, boost up that nutrition too, because for me personally, I know that I always feel better after I eat well after a massage. So
Yeah, check out just some fresh produce, but don't do anything crazy that you, like, if it already works for you, then if it ain't broke, don't fix it, If you need to come on an empty stomach versus somebody else that can eat, don't just go change it up. I mean, just go with what your body is comfortable with.
Also, don't work out after your massage. Let your muscles rest and recover so that you don't tense them back up. And also, they're not going to be able to perform as well after a massage anyway, because they are so relaxed. So just skip the workout for the day.
Well, it's very important to be invested in your own self-care. And so what I mean by that is, and I try really hard to do a good job with my clients on this, to teach them how to do these things properly. Stretching every single day.
Do a little foam rolling, stretching, just so, we're still going to give you, we're going to get in there. Of course, we're going to give you whatever your body needs, but, if we don't need to work on that spot as much, then it'll give us more of an opportunity to work on something else that we may have not gotten to if it was too tight, in the other spot.
Stretching every single day in between your sessions is vital and important to helping you reduce pain, increasing range of motion, and limiting, having those limitations of range of motion that you might currently have.
One of the other things that I would advise anyone to do in between massage sessions is to stretch. To stretch all of the areas, like if your shoulder hurts, stretch your arms, stretch your pecs, stretch your back, stretch twisting, stretch up, stretch all around.
If your therapist gives you stretches, try to do the stretches. Write them down, take a picture. We're giving them to you because we think they're going to help you, and if you want to have the most prolonged results, the stretching and the exercises that we give you will help you achieve that.
Also, targeted exercise. So there are certain exercises that will help open up the shoulders. Many people have naturally rounded shoulders, and it's caving in. They have lower back problems. If you strengthen the proper muscles, you'll create the stability in the joint and allow it to work the way it's supposed to. As a matter of fact, 3 days a week, on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I conduct a live session on Facebook in which I help guide people through the stretches and exercises that commonly most people need to do every day. So if you can go back and look at it on Facebook now and play the ones I've done in the past, you'll notice that they kind of are a little bit repetitive, but that's on purpose, and that repetition will pay off and work.
Peaceful Warriors Wellness. Feel better, move better, be better. When you feel better, you feel more like you. And when you move better, there's so much you can do. Be who you were meant to be. Peaceful Warriors Wellness. Feel better, move better, be better. Peaceful Warriors.
So exciting being on TV. I'm a little nervous.
Peaceful Warriors Wellness. Feel better, move better, be better.
Well, my name's Stephen Falconetti. I am from Sarasota, Florida, born in New York. But yeah, Florida boy. Well, it's been a journey. I was originally a personal trainer for about 6 years, and then I just wanted to dive a little bit deeper into healing, so I discovered physical therapy assistant. So I've been doing that the past 3 years, and then just this January, two things happened. I went to a myofascial release course, and that was really powerful. That just opened up my eyes to a whole new world. And then, and then I also discovered Scott and Lena at the Saturday morning market, and I received a massage from Scott, just a 30-minute, and I was just blown away with how much was accomplished, like between the two of us, just working on releasing that tension, and then I realized I was, I looked back and I said, hey, I constantly use therapeutic massage in a physical therapy clinic, and everybody seems to really enjoy it, and they feel better, their stress goes down. I personally have loved massage throughout the years, so it just dawned on me one day. I said, let me just do this, I think this is the next step. So all right, so as far as my methodology, kind of piggybacking off of what I was saying before, as just being in a constant state of education. Now, that doesn't mean that I can't be a jack of all trades and a master of some. I don't think that in massage you could ever get bored, and I feel like it really all depends on the person, on the individual, the client coming in. So like, for instance, if somebody's really stressed and they, you could tell that they're not breathing properly and they're getting headaches, for instance, and if all these things add up, then, it's an art and a science. So probably be doing a little bit more relaxation with them. And then, but the way I see it is, I also see it as like myofascial approach and energy approach as well. Like sometimes I'll just close my eyes and let, the sensory receptors on my hands find what needs to be worked on. So yeah, like I kind of like that when I work with Catherine, because I asked her, like, is there like a set thing that you do? And she's like, I'm just listening to your body. I'm like, that's a great quote,
Mm-hmm.
I'll borrow that if I can. So yeah, I love that. I love myofascial, neuromuscular. I want to get into more of the Thai massage. I personally do stretching right now, one-on-one, so as another as a side job. So I love all that stuff. There was a few things. Like I was saying before, I was always wanting more, like as I progressed with helping people. Like when I was a trainer, I've always wanted to just work on the injuries and be able to actually go to the source of the problem. And, when I was a personal trainer, I felt a little limited in that respect, as well as some of that stability too. So yeah, PTA was just the right fit as far as cost opportunity, the time it took. So I, like some of my other friends in massage school, we kind of, we just see things as it's constant education. So I try not to look at it as black and white. Like, there are definitely people that will say, oh, why didn't you just go ahead and get your DPT? Well, 2 years versus 4 years, as well as about $27,000 versus $150,000. So you do the math. I love DPTs, they're great. I love working with them, don't get me wrong. But yeah, so that worked for me in my path, and it's great. Then of course Corona happened, and it was perfect timing, to be honest with you, as far as just my career goes. And then when I discovered that there's actually a one-on-one place for physical therapy, I was kind of spoiled, because when I looked for other places in this area, because I was in Sarasota doing PT, and it was a great experience. But yeah, when I started searching around, it was just 3 clients at the same time, or patients. So it's 3 or 4, like, what kind of quality is that, you know? So my eyes are open. My eyes are open for that, but the main thing now is massage, because it's such a gift to be able to, I call it being a co-healer. I don't want to get into semantics, but yeah, I think we're co-healers, you know? It takes 2 to tango, you know? So it takes 2 to heal. There's the person that is, the therapist is providing, or the practitioner, providing that space inside of your tissue, whether it be muscle, fascia, all that good stuff. And then there's the client who needs to be open to receiving it. So at the end of the day, it's just another step in, you know, your body healing itself. So yeah.
When you feel better, you feel more like you. And when you move better, there's so much you can do. Be who you were meant to be. Peaceful warriors, wellness. Feel better, move better, be better. Peaceful warrior.
Hey everybody, this is Steven with Peaceful Warriors Wellness Center, and today is Wellness Wednesday. I want to show you a simple stretch that you can do anywhere, like the gym, or even when you're pumping gas, while you're traveling on the road, planes, trains, automobiles, whatever. So you're going to stretch the calves here, gastrocnemius, and a little bit of that soleus. Latin name is the triceps surae. Pretty interesting name. So all you're doing is staying up tall, let the heel drop there, and then take some nice deep breaths, lengthen the spine. Now, you might already feel it from this position, but others would lean forward a little bit to feel more of that stretch. Now, like I always say, we're not breaking any records, just, you know, less is more. Now to get more of the soleus, you bend the knee a little bit. You feel that closer to the heel cord. Just be nice and gentle. Hold for at least 30 seconds. A few sets, 3 or 4 sets. And breathe. Don't forget to breathe. Hope that helps, and we'll see you at the Wellness Center.
Hey guys, this is Steven with your Wellness Wednesday over at Peaceful Warrior Wellness Center. So today, I was thinking, there's many of us that work at home and work at a desk or in an office, and I just wanted to give you some simple tools to help alleviate some of that stress and that pain and dysfunction. So what we're gonna do is stretch the hamstring, the back of that leg, which bends the knee. So by sitting over a long period of time, that muscle just stays in that shortened position, and we want to help lengthen it again. So this can help alleviate some back pain, which we'll explain more as we get into the massage, and we would love to elaborate on that. But in the meantime, just going to gently sit and then place one leg forward in front of you. And of course, this means you're going to do both sides, but you're going to hinge forward, you're going to lengthen the spine, sit up tall, chest up, shoulders down and back, hinge at the hips. Now it's just light, you know, it's a marathon, not a sprint. You feel that right behind the knee, or even up in that muscle belly right here. And depending on the angle, just like with the strap, you'll feel different sides of your hamstring, depending on how much you turn your foot in and out. So at any rate, you're just gonna sit, breathe. I like to hold for 4, breathe in for 4, hold for 4, and then exhale for 4. And then you could slightly increase that range of motion as you exhale. You can also point the toe down and get more of your shin, tibialis anterior muscle. And same thing. So there you have it. You don't need a, in a pinch, you don't need a strap or anything, which we love using them, but when you're at work and, we just want to eliminate the excuses and try to, just do your best, guys. So have an awesome day, and I hope that helps. Stay tuned for more, okay? And if you like this, please share with a friend, family. That really makes a difference. We appreciate it. Support local business, guys.
Peaceful Warriors Wellness. Feel better, move better, be better.
Hi, I'm Lena Roberts, and today I'm here with Sam Bellier. Sam, tell me a little bit about yourself.
So actually how we met was you studied with me for reflexology, and I am a massage therapist here in the Florida area and specialize in reflexology. I've been doing reflexology for about 12 years now, and I teach and write and speak all over the world on the topic. And so we're here to talk about some techniques and some nitty-gritty stuff that hopefully you will find as interesting as we do.
I love reflexology. I have always loved reflexology, and the deeper I get into it, the more I say, this is why I'm doing this. Mm-hmm. I loved training under you. I learned so much about feet, but I also learned so much about myself. Mm-hmm. What is that? Heal thyself.
Yeah, for sure.
And learned so much about myself in that there are so many others out there just like me, mm-hmm. that are having the exact same problems that I have. And you have taught me how to help myself and in turn help my clients. Mm-hmm. And, but you are so much different than the average reflexologist or reflexology teacher. And I spoke this to one of, Alex, who mm-hmm. trained with us. He has a hard time finding his voice. Mm-hmm. And I really said this to him, was that you taught me how to use my voice. Mm. And it has not only helped me be a better reflexologist, but I am a better massage therapist. I am a better advocate for my community. Mm-hmm. And that came from finding my voice. Yeah. And because you teach a lot more of foot reading. Mm-hmm. And the foot reading is... I'm going to let you get a little bit more into explaining what the foot reading is. Because to me, it's from my heart.
Right.
And so you can explain a little bit more.
So as far as my style of reflexology goes and the way that, I teach and run the program, I think that you finding your voice is really what is missing. Not just in the reflexology world, but also in the bodywork world in general. Like we as massage therapists are so focused on the manual and so focused on doing the work that we forget that intelligent feedback with clients is such a valuable part of the practice. And reflexology is an assessment modality. We're using the extremities as the microcosm to show us what's happening in the body and the macrocosm with these clients. And I think that if practitioners can step up to the plate and use their voice and say, hey, I'm noticing in this area of the body, there's a significant amount of tension. Where do you think that's coming from? And having deeper discussions with clients and educating them about how they can take their wellness into their own hands, then we as practitioners start to bridge the gap between people feeling like they need to go all kind of independent and WebMD themselves to death, or, spend 15 minutes with a physician who is trying to sort through so many different things at once that they don't have the time to dedicate to that particular patient. We as body workers get to straddle those two worlds, funnel them to the practitioners that they need, and also help them master their own self-healing journey through self-care. And the way that we do that is by providing feedback that we would find through the reflexes and using modalities like reflexology that are more geared towards assessment.
What is it that you say in your videos? You do not diagnose DPT?
Right. DPT, ACE. Yeah.
ACE, assess, assess, coach, and educate.
Right. So we don't diagnose, prescribe, or treat. We don't DPT. And that, like, when I got into reflexology, the whole premise of reflexology is press the button, fix the issue. And if you are feeling a particular area of tension, a lot of clients will be, so what is that area? And we need to be very careful, because if we say, oh, that's the heart, that might be considered diagnosing, and we don't want to play doctor. That's not our job. But instead, we can provide feedback and say, hey, this is part of the cardiovascular system. How are you taking care of that area? Are you walking regularly? Do you have any history of cardiovascular issues in your family? Do we need to send you to a specialist to check up on that area? Do we need to get you into a more personal training program to help get physical health online in that body system? And instead of saying, this looks like a heart problem, that's not what we're trying to do. We're not trying to diagnose, prescribe, or treat, but instead we are taking the softer side of that approach, and we are stepping up to the plate using our voice, and we are assessing, we're noticing these patterns in the tissues, and we're able to recognize when something does not look right based on our experience as body workers. We are coaching. We are actually speaking with our clients about what actionable steps they can be doing outside of the session. We are advocating, which is super huge for clients, because a lot of clients, it's as simple as, have you scheduled a follow-up, or have you gone for a second opinion? A lot of clients just need that supportive role that they don't necessarily get from these people that are on such regimented traditional healthcare budgets. And then we educate. Like, it's our job to be up on our research, to direct clients towards additional reading and studies, and to put them in touch with potential plants if we're qualified with that, or different exercise programs if we're qualified with that, and to even refer them to other mental health professionals if they feel like stress is part of the issue, and getting them in touch with, through education, the different avenues of wellness that are open to them, and not feeling like they just need to do one particular thing.
I like that, because I always felt like, as a massage therapist, that I knew that these, drink more water, eat better food, exercise more. And now I feel like that I can say, okay, these are the things that you need to do that are within my scope. I don't, but I can say, you need to drink more water, because down here in your feet, you're really tightening it up, and you need more water to help cushion there.
Right.
And I have more of a voice to be able to say that with my clients. And it has, I was telling Alex, was that I have, always taken, I have at least 500 hours every renewal, every 2 years of continuing education. Mm-hmm. And I have learned a lot, but it wasn't until I came to you that I learned how to apply that to my clients' aftercare. Not when they're in here in my room for the hour or 90 minutes or whatever. I feel like that I have an impact on them afterwards.
Yeah. And that was kind of part of our discussion before we started filming, was the idea of, when you initially train in a modality, it can be just step one, and with reflexology, I was trained in the Ingham method, which was very much just work it out, just press the button as hard as you can, and then the body will heal itself. That is not how I view reflexology now, but it is how many reflexologists view the modality, as press button, fix issue. If somebody has a stomach issue, you just hit the stomach reflex as hard as possible, and it will work out that tension. But instead, as we learn assessment and as we have a better vocabulary to speak to our clients and to speak with the body in general through reflexology, we are palpating and we're saying, hey, the stomach should have a really nice, spongy, slightly warm texture to it. If it is caved in and cold and tight, we know that this person may not have enough stomach acid. We know that this person's stomach yang in holistic medicine, or more of a traditional Chinese medicine perspective, is depleted. How can we bring that back up to the surface? And do they need to schedule an appointment with a registered dietitian to work on those stomach issues as a source of what they maybe came in for, which was headaches, and that part of the storytelling, that part of the discovery process, that part of reflexology, not just being a modality that is manual, but instead being this process of picking the client apart and using all of your health and wellness training, not just that you've taken from other people, but things that you've learned for yourself along the road as well. If you feel like you're underqualified, just remember that you've had to keep yourself alive up until this point, and that brings a lot of expertise, and you will attract the clients that you are uniquely qualified to help with. So all of that in a reflex context really lets you be that pivot point for a lot of clients to determine where they go next, instead of just, well, see you next week.
And that's what a lot of the reflexology classes that I had taken before were very single. Mm-hmm. You use your hands, you may use some tools, but it's always press button, fix issue. And with you, I gained my confidence to bring in the stones, to bring in all of my crystals, and specifically the salt rocks that I use for
and the
everything.
Cupping
and the cupping. The cupping has been game changer on people with plantar fasciitis, mm-hmm. because before we were talking about plantar fasciitis on our podcast, and the one thing that Sam said you need to really get to treat plantar fasciitis is circulation, mm-hmm. and the cupping pulls the tissue in a different direction than what the body has ever felt before, and in that process of doing that, you create space, and the space then is filled up with fluid, so you have created a really good pumping circulation there. Mm-hmm. And with people with plantar fasciitis, it is so tender.
Yes.
I need some WD-40 on that, huh? It is so tender that downward pressure, a lot of times, you can't do.
Exactly.
But I can crank it up really high on the mm-hmm. cups, because it's pulling it in a different direction than pressing down, and they don't have that pain stimulus. Mm-hmm. And it has, and I have little bitty tiny cups. I'm going to step behind you.
Yeah, go for it.
I have little bitty tiny cups that I can use on mm-hmm. the feet. I have little bitty tiny cups that I can get in between their toenail. The toes in there. It is amazing. I have much bigger cups that I use on the body. Mm-hmm. But I have these little bitty tiny cups that is just amazing, mm-hmm. Of the effect that you can get from suction.
Right. And that's, when we as massage therapists investigate a manual modality, it's so important to work with your body, be creative, understand different ways to do the same thing. But then one of the things that really makes reflexology shine is identifying when manual therapy is not enough, and how you as a practitioner can then remind people like, hey, based on what we're seeing here, no amount of cupping, no amount of manual work, no amount of hydration is going to fix this particular style of symptomology. Instead, we need to look somewhere else in the body, or in the mind, or in the emotions, or into the diet, or into other aspects of health and wellness that are outside of the treatment room that you need to do on your own time, instead of us trying to manually fix something that is not within our, not just legal scope, but also our ability as healers. It has to be putting that responsibility back on the client at certain points, and reflexology is an excellent modality to draw that boundary a little bit cleaner.
I like that. And a lot of people come in here and they want you to fix it for them. And a lot of times, I can fix it for you for a little while. but it's going to come back.
Right.
And unless you want to continue to come back here and spend a lot of money, and I'm okay with that too. Just be honest with you. I'm happy to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of times you need that at 3:00 on a Saturday morning,
Mm-hmm.
and you need something that you can do for yourself.
Right.
And self-care and being directed in a healthy manner,
Right.
as opposed to saying, I can't help you when you're in the middle of the night.
Mm-hmm.
You're on your own there.
Yeah.
But I can say, hey, these are the things you can use. A tennis ball.
Mm-hmm.
You can get on the steps and do the stretches. You can drink a glass of water, and you will be amazed at what effect that glass of water does on you.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really like that reflexology is not just push button fix issue.
Right. Definitely.
I like to say that it helps the body communicate with itself better.
Yep. Exactly.
And that means you bringing everything that you know into knowing it and feeling it and doing it are three different things.
For sure. For sure. Yeah.
Speak to me a little bit more about the zones.
Yeah, so the way that reflexology maps the foot is we divide not just the feet, but also the hands, the face, the ears, any of the extremities that we would use for reflexology into 5 different sections according to anatomical order. So the top of the foot being the toes represent zone 1, which is the head. Then we move down into the ball of the foot, that area that you would push off of if you were running, that padded area, which is going to be all chest, lungs, shoulders. Then the arch is divided into upper digestive and lower digestive. And the heel itself represents everything sciatic or lower body. So all the legs, the muscles, the knees, etc.
So the feet are in...
The feet would be technically in zone 5.
Okay.
Yeah, but this is also a really interesting question back to the plantar fasciitis. And even if we were to look at carpal tunnel, the idea of the extremities as the whistleblowers of the body or the tip of the iceberg, like the extremities only get involved when you've neglected yourself to such a severe point that the tea kettle's already boiling on the stove. Like there's so much compounded stress underneath that the numbing or tingling or pain that you're experiencing in the extremities is just the tip of that larger health crisis that's finally coming to a boil. And the body's like, nope, this is no longer negotiable. We are taking you out of commission. And that often comes from that stabbing pain of plantar fasciitis, extremities going numb, or pain that you just can't tolerate anymore.
I have a client, and I don't know if we want to get into this right at this point, but I do want to put it out there so I won't forget before the end of the show. I have a client, she's coming to me for plantar fasciitis. I have never worked with someone that has tarsal...
Tarsal outlet.
Yes. What is the things that make them seem a lot similar, and what are the differences in these?
Yeah, so when we're looking at like thoracic outlet syndrome is what a lot of practitioners are probably familiar with in terms of just nerve impingement, right? Nerve impingement that does various things to the extremity that the nerves and vascularity have to go through in order to innervate that particular extremity. The same thing happens all over the body, including the feet. So if we were to look at thoracic outlet syndrome, if we were to look at carpal tunnel syndrome, if we were to look at tarsal tunnel syndrome, the idea is still the same. The bones maybe have shifted out of place. The ligaments are pulled tight. The muscles are pulled tighter. The vascularity is starting to flood and put excess pressure on the extremity itself, producing a wide range of symptoms, as lymph backing up tends to do. And the result is just this messy kind of cross-pointing of, is it this, is it that? It's all of it together. But, just like we were talking about on the podcast, oftentimes in that instance, the remedy is going to be circulation. The remedy is going to be movement. The remedy is going to be proper strengthening, proper tone, and proper lengthening of the extremities that happens through not just manual body work, but also active self-care. And people who have tension in the extremities to that degree, with that extremity representing the rest of the body, normally have issues elsewhere, like with tarsal issues and plantar fasciitis and many foot issues. The ankle will be completely locked. When the ankle is locked, the ankle in reflexology represents the pelvis as the central movement point of both the foot and the body. And so when we're kind of sitting at that 90-degree angle all day, every day, and the feet are in that same space, and you're not shaking that tension, loosening those muscles, and getting that circulation, it becomes really difficult for the ankles to have proper range of motion, for the hips to have proper range of motion, and then the bones, the muscles, and the fluid circulation in between it gets super angry. And so depending on what you see, a lot of it is going to be, does movement help it or does it make it worse? Do you find that pain is increased or decreased with eating? Do you find that you are chronically dehydrated, or is swelling part of the issue? And asking some simple questions really gets you to narrow down what is wrong here. But a lot of clients will be like, yeah, movement helps, but I don't really get a chance to go out as much. And I'm like, well, I can induce movement for you, but if you want this pain to stop coming back all the time, you're going to need to change your lifestyle. And that's a simple feedback mechanism that a lot of clients won't get unless the therapist feels confident enough to speak up.
Right. And it's hard hearing that you're going to have to change your life because of this pain. And we find this in any healthcare. It doesn't matter what modality or specialty it is. People don't want to change what they're doing.
True.
And it's not until things get so bad that they have to.
And a lot of clients are chasing this idea of pain relief. Pain is the body's feedback mechanism.
Right.
Like pain is there as the guardrails to make sure that you don't do something that's super crazy. So if you're trying to take away pain, if your goal is just to get out of pain, your goal should be to get rid of why the pain occurred, not the pain itself. So a lot of people who are used to taking painkillers all the time, or who are looking for surgical intervention, understand that quality of life is super important and nobody should judge you for your pain. But at the same time, just clipping a nerve or just deadening that sensation is not enough for chronic instability.
No, it's not. There is a specific reason to do that nerve ablation. I think that's what it's called. And usually that is something that has come out as an accident or something like that. Something has definitely shifted. But there is a use for that, and some people get great relief with it. But I can personally tell you of about 10 people that I know that have went and had the nerve ablation done, and it hasn't touched their problem.
Yep.
It's, so, and these same people, if they would take that 15 minutes a couple of times a day and walk around the block or, and drink a glass of water while they're doing that and eat properly and not out of the vending machines, they would see a huge difference in their life and in the quality of life, not just their pain, but everything else that goes along with it. I see that a lot with my nurse friends.
Yeah.
A lot. They are the ones out there keeping you alive while they are eating a Snickers bar and a pack of nabs with a Coke in the break room.
For sure.
And that will be all that they will have to eat or drink during that 12-hour shift that they are there.
Yep.
And I'm sure that it's getting even worse now with COVID. I'm so thankful that I'm not in the hospital anymore. But they're the ones that are walking on that hard concrete floor. And they're doing a lot of movement, but they are also in those nurse shoes that don't allow for a lot of movement. And
here's the thing, the body knows when you're moving therapeutically versus when you're moving for a job. The body absolutely knows. If you're up and down stairs all day for your work, that is not exercise, that is obligation. And the body knows the difference. So I think that it's really important, back to that idea of self-care. We need to recognize, hey, yes, you may be checking the box, but are you fulfilling the requirement? And that is very different and really also hard for people to know. I get a lot of clients who are in manual labor fields and they're like, I don't understand. I'm so active all day. I'm like, you may be active. Yeah, but you're not taking care of yourself. And there's a big difference there.
Yes, I have. I used to say that I used to walk around my unit. It was constant walking around my unit. And I did. But I was the one that was eating the crackers and the Snickers bars. And then whenever I became a massage therapist, I walk around this table now. But I eat a lot better and I feel so much better. I cannot, every single nurse, every single healthcare practitioner, I tell them this story about how I was chronically sick. I was chronically had some kind of sinus infection, ear infection, bladder infection, some kind of infection. I was always tired. And then whenever I slowed down and started listening to my body, whenever I was sleepy, I would go to sleep and not fight through it because I was strong. I feel so much better.
Right.
And it has taken how many years? I think I was in my mid-40s before that clicked with me.
Mm-hmm.
So repetition of telling our clients the same thing every single time is so important. Of when they're ready to hear it and do it, they will.
For sure.
So, where are we at on time?
Close to 25 minutes.
Okay.
Do you want to talk about the differences in charts?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So one of the big questions that we had before we started the video was this idea of reflexology being a little bit more confusing because the charts look different depending on where you go. And we talked a little bit about zones beforehand, but it is important to understand that reflexology, just like other forms of manual therapy, are also a business. And when you look at reflexology online, if you Google reflexology charts, the charts will have discrepancies. They will be visually different. And there are two major reasons for that. One is that the school might have different points that they've learned over time are good for particular conditions. As an example, the Ingham method that I trained in puts the eye and the ear reflexes on what we would call the horizontal, the shoulder line guideline, which we talked about in Sally Kay's work, is subclavian. The subclavian reflex, which drains a lot of the inner ear and eye. So it is correct, just for different reasons. So there are variations in terms of the school's theories about why reflexology works and the key points to emphasize. But then number two is that the maps have to be different due to copyright reasons. If a map is too similar to another map that's already been created, then that's a legal issue. So maps need to be changed, the colors need to be altered, the shapes need to be altered in order to satisfy copyright requirements. So if you are looking at a reflexology map, the suggestion that I have for you is to remember that reflexology is based on anatomical order. Head at the top, lower body at the bottom, and all of the organs fall as they would in between. The only problem is when you're starting to get like the heart reflex in the heel. You know, that's when you start to know that this person didn't really know what they were doing. Like I taught a workshop a couple weeks ago over in Dunedin, which went really well. And somebody had brought one of the maps that they had gotten from an essential oil catalog as like a freebie. And it was hilarious to me as we looked at that map together as a class and I was like, do you see how the gallbladder reflex is on both feet, but the gallbladder is only on one side of your body? That lets you know that this person did not necessarily have reflexology training. Do you see how the large intestine isn't divided into ascending, transverse, and descending colon? That is one thing that reflexology practitioners are very acute with in terms of how they make their maps. Certain maps will list the breast tissue on it, some won't. Some will add the lymphatic reflexes, some won't. There will be little changes like that, but most of it will be following anatomical order because we're looking at that microcosm, macrocosm model as an exact replica of human anatomy.
I have several different feet reflexology charts in here, and I use them all because if I have someone that literally comes in here and they are much more emotional, I'm going to go to your charts. If I get someone that comes in here a little bit more analytical and I call it dictatorship, they come in here and they say, I want this and this and this area's worked and don't touch anything else. And then I'm going to go to Karen Ball.
Karen's chart. Yep.
Yeah, Karen has a lot more, and that's more Karen's personality too.
Exactly.
And so I really get more. And then anyone that comes in here with any kind of lymphatic, weight problem, anything with the fluid, I'm going to do a lot more of the Sally K stuff. Mm-hmm. And it really helps me. And I have other charts all over this office. But these are the 3 that I really use personally the most. Mm-hmm. And I have, we have an Ingram in there that Catherine absolutely loves. Mm-hmm. I think it's because it's big.
Yeah.
But and I also think that that's what she was first exposed to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's her go-to method. But it's been a pure pleasure learning about all the different types of reflexology. Mm-hmm. I have, and to know that there are this many out there that even if I don't agree with their methods or whatever, that's not saying that there are not people out there that benefit greatly from them.
It's the same thing with all forms of body work. Like I don't agree with practitioners who rip apart a client with large amounts of pain. Some clients go for that specifically. And there is a practitioner for everybody, and there's a style of reflexology for everybody. One is not better than the others, but they are just different ways of achieving the same result.
And that's what I really like about this office that we have created here, in that I'm not going to do any painful. If I feel you flinching, I'm going to back off, because I am a Southern girl and I get so much further being softer and sweeter than I do if I just try to jump on you.
And the research actually supports that. So a lot of clients will come in and they'll be expecting this bloodbath of a session, because there are several popular YouTube videos of people just getting killed by reflexologists, mm-hmm. often using tools. Tools are the devil, yes. In my opinion. But again, other practitioners use tools, totally their practice. But for me, what the research is sharing is that if we trigger that pain response, the body's going to shut down the session. The body, especially because we're dealing with nerves and reflexology, if the body feels like you are a threat, it's not going to soak in that work as much. And the lighter work that Sally does with the lymphatic system is getting major results, and she doesn't use large amounts of pressure. Mm-hmm. Same thing with Barbara Scott and Carol Samuels, and all of the published reflexologists are not using this bone-crushing pressure that a lot of traditional reflexologists are using. So I think that shift is making reflexology more accessible and a little bit more amicable to those who have different pressure requirements.
Alex Howell, who is a reflexologist here, he has a much deeper pressure. That's him. That's his hands. They are much more deeper. And so whenever I get someone and they're asking for this deeper pressure, because a lot of people, I feel like they feel like they have to have felt something for it to be doing anything. And I love to be able to say, I think your next session should be with Alex. I think that you would really like his pressure. And just like with any of the massage therapists here, I'm like, okay, you really want to have the massage also. We have the availability of you being able to have the massage, have that area that you are hurting, mm-hmm. actually worked on, but then let's work on it through your feet or your hands or your face or your ears or any of those combination of. Mm-hmm. Is it going?
Oh yeah, it's been going this whole time.
All right, sorry. Thank you very much for joining me today, Sam. I have so enjoyed talking with you, as if every time that I get to talk with you. Please tell everyone how they can get in touch with you if they have more questions about specific reflexology or herbalism or whatever you are doing right then.
Yeah, and likewise, thank you for having me. So best way to contact me is just through my website, which is sambellier.com. You can also find me on all major social media channels with my first and last name as well. And we can connect through any of those platforms.
Thank you very much. And you can also find us here at peacefulwarriorswellness.com and all the social media outlets out there. We're on as PW Wellness. And you can find us here in downtown St. Petersburg. Thank you for joining us. Bye.
Peaceful Warriors Wellness. Feel better, move better, be better. When you feel better, you feel more like you. And when you move better, there's so much you can do.